Hi guys. So you'll see in the coming vlog a day in the life of an AmeriCorps worker, volunteer. It's AmeriCorps week, but I wanted to come on today's Wednesday. I want to come on and like show you like a donation drop off, because that's what all of this is for. I mean, yeah, it's here to like, teach me how to be a better grower and, show me like different plant growing techniques and all these different things. But at the end of the day, it is really and truly about donating organic, fresh produce to food banks and kitchens. But yeah, we usually make a donation 1 to 2 times a week. In the winter, it slowed down because things just don't produce as fast enough and in the same quantity. I mean, yeah, we've got the greenhouse and that helps, but things still slow down. Like the days are super short in the winter. So there's only so much you can do. So this load isn't as much, it's not as much, but it's still 20 pounds, right? So 20 pounds today, which is good. I've got tomatoes, I've got chives, I've got scallions, I've got basil, I've got what else do I have? Chard. Here's the donation. Like I said, tomatoes and cherry tomatoes and basil and scallions and chard and kale. Oh, we have kale. I forgot to mention that. And the chives should be in there as well. So, yeah. So, yeah. It's really just that quick. We go in, we say hi. He just marvels at our tomatoes. Like, he just takes like 5 minutes just saying, "Oh yeah." And I used to drop it off at the food bank, but then I realized that from the food bank they just take it straight to the chef. So I just take it straight to the chef. It goes straight from the dirt. Like our produce goes straight from the dirt, straight from the ground, fertile ground, straight from the ground, right? Good ground, good soil. To us just weighing it, right? To the chef. And then within either that day, depends on how early. Sometimes I'm a little late, we're a little late getting it there, and he probably uses it the next day. Like sometimes I'm late and I can already smell the food ready. Like I can already smell it ready. So he'll probably use it the next day. But if I get there early enough, it goes straight from the ground to us weighing it, and we don't do anything, right? We don't like spray it, with bugs or something. I don't know. Whatever you think, whatever other processes are that goes from like farm to table, that in between, all we do is just weigh it. And we only weigh it for our records, to like say, oh, to say, like, in the winter, we've noticed that our our pounds that we donate drops in the winter. Why is that? Or just to keep records. That's all we do. And then I take it to the food bank, or I take it to the chef, and everything is used instantly. It's instantly. Everything is going to a good cause in that moment. Like, we don't have time. We don't have time because we don't have any preservatives. Nothing's pasteurized, or I hope I said that right. Pasteurized. None of that happens here. And it's just so great. It's great. Good morning, YouTube. Well, it was morning then. So yeah, the first thing I do when I go into the greenhouse is I check water needs. So that's the first thing I do. This particular morning we had a class. So our greenhouse does a partnership with the high school for the city, the high school of the city, and there's an actual greenhouse class, and students come in and they learn about all these greenhouse management techniques, and they plant and they transplant and they prepare beds and they weed and they do everything, greenhouse related. So that was a good 2 hours of the first morning. So now it's like about 9 o'clock. So I'm getting onto the watering for the entire greenhouse. So yeah, first thing is water, and this honestly can take a good 45 minutes to like an hour and a half. It depends on the day. Some days we're watering every single thing, so like all of the succulents, all of the peppers, all of the other plants that don't need as much water. So we have to get them at least 2 times a week, and on those 2 days, 2 to 3 days, 3 days really, on those 3 days it could take a really long time. Because as you can see, you have to go through and weigh each individual pot. And when I'm like lifting up the pot, I'm really trying to feel for the weight of the water in the pot. Now, it's not really necessarily weight either, because of course a tiny pot isn't going to feel the same as like a 5-gallon pot. So like what I'm really lifting for is like, does it feel like dense? Like, does it feel what am I trying to say? Does it feel like, I guess dense is the word I'm looking for. Like, does it feel like it's soaked? So yeah, I don't know how to describe it. You really have to just do it yourself, and figure that out for yourself. It doesn't hurt to just write down the date, like get a calendar and just say, oh, I know I watered it this day. And don't water things every day. I don't think anything really needs water every single day. But yeah, just this is what I do. I go through and water specifically for each pot. And yeah, lifting and watering and lifting and watering, and when I'm watering, I'm not just watering once. I'm actually giving it a really, really good soak, a thorough soak. So because you don't want to just tease the plants. You don't want to just give it a little drop and then it's just like, I want more. No, just go ahead at that time when you know it needs water, give it a full soak. So that requires me watering and then letting that water drain through and soak through, and then coming back and giving it another soak. Which is why this can take a while. Like these nasturtiums right here, I haven't watered these in like 2 days. So today it's on my list, which adds to time of watering, if that makes sense. So yeah, water. And you should be watering yourself every day. It's first thing in the morning too. Like when you roll out of bed, just like take your vitamins and your water, and then like drink some tea. But yeah,
And might I add, this is quite therapeutic too. You're just going through and looking at each baby and making sure they're doing okay, and giving them exactly what they need. Here I'm just showing you some of the native species that we're growing. So that was blue flax, that first one. This one right here is yarrow. And they're looking really good too. This yarrow is looking so good. We've got a few penstemon that we're growing. We've got a couple of grasses that I just, experimented with myself. Hopefully, like, people like grasses. I feel like the grasses should be put in with other flowering plants. Here is a seed bomb experiment that I was trying out, which is going quite well, might I add. So here I'm going through the tomato plants, and this one can be very tedious as well because I'm going through and lifting up each bag to see what needs to be watered. And so once again, I'm lifting for, like, does it feel dense? Does it feel full? Some you can, like, pick up and it feels almost like a little baby pot because it's just, there's no water in there. It's so dry. So yeah, once again, taking care of the tomatoes. And yeah. And here I am opening up our vents because we've got to get some air flowing through the greenhouse. I promise you, when those are closed, you will feel it within 3 minutes how hot it gets. So I have to make sure that those get open. And so here I'm just checking on other seeds. Well, these are not seeds. Well, yeah, they're seeds. Seeds that I've sown, and I was just checking for germination. So yeah, I just go through and make sure things haven't emerged, and if they have emerged, I remove the dome. And today, nothing has emerged. Perhaps tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, the next day, they will come in their own time. So that was that. Here I am beginning to make soil. So I've already done 2/3 of this mega bin. Like, I could lay down in it and bury myself in it. But no. So our formula is 3 parts. There's like 3 components of it. So there is a fertilizer called, well, I don't know if it's necessarily fertilizer, but it's an element you can add to your soil mix called Boost. And it's made by farmers right here in Nevada, in close proximity to where we are. And it's amazing. It's so rich, and it's got this deep dark brown black color, and so that's how you know it's good, So I add Boost, and so now I'm adding perlite. It's just like it mimics rocks, and that helps with, like, aerating the soil, so things won't get too clogged, right? So you don't want plants sitting in clogged soil, Well, at least here in Nevada you don't. Maybe down in Mississippi it's okay, because it's just muddy everywhere. But here we would like perlite. And then this third component is peat moss, sphagnum. It's just your normal sphagnum moss. Helps. It's very bouncy, in my opinion. everyone uses peat. It's really good. And so now we mix it. We shovel it around and we mix it. Oh, well, okay, first we declump it. Declump the peat moss. And now we shovel it around. And it looks like I'm doing this fast, but of course I sped up the video. This is an arm workout in itself. Oh my goodness, mixing around the soil, which is why we take it into threes. So I couldn't fathom just mixing everything at once. So we just do it in layers. And this is the third layer, the third and final layer of mixing the soil together. So, yeah. By now it is lunchtime, so I normally just play Animal Crossing Pocket Camp on my lunch break. FYI, there's a new crossover event happening with the New Horizons game that's going to be coming out soon. Cannot wait for that. So yeah, I just relax my brain a bit. Just sit and just be a little lazy for a couple of minutes and eat pretzels and pasta and things that'll give me a bit more energy for the second half of the day. So before, you just saw me preparing labels for pots that I will be transplanting into. It's so important to label things, guys. Oh my gosh. You think you're going to remember something, but you're really not going to remember. So I like to go ahead and label things before I even begin. Before I even put soil in, I just go ahead and put a label on. And so now I'm going to fill in these pots. I just take, actually that's a old bleach bottle, and we just cut it up to mimic a scooper. So there's a little tip for you if you want to recycle some plastic bottles. So yeah, now I just shake it off, just shake off the excess soil on the top. And then we take it over and we try, well, I personally just like to go ahead and hose it down. Some people soak the pots in water. I like to just go ahead and take the hose and shower it with water. And then I'll let that drain out for a couple of minutes, maybe like 5 minutes. Just to make sure the water is soaked all the way through. And now I will add fertilizer. It's only 1/8 of a teaspoon. In the past weeks, we feel like we've just been over fertilizing, because we've just been seeing a lot of leaf growth, and not necessarily flower growth. So we just want to tone back on the fertilizer a bit. Still give them something, but not as much. And now we just simply transplant. Here we just take a little chopstick, stick it into the cell, and scoop it out of the cell with the chopstick, and transplant it into the pot. At my old greenhouse facility, we would take little plant tags and tease out seedlings, whatever fits you. Here I just follow what everyone else is doing. Every greenhouse is different, so I just fall in line with their management styles and things like that. But anything works as long as you're getting the seedling out and you're not damaging the roots. It's fine. So there's number 2, and you just tuck it on in its new home, and there you go. And this is really how my day went today. So we're gearing up for our fundraiser, which is a plant sale. So I'm transplanting cabbage, kale, and chard. I think I did those 3 greens today. And these are all going to be sold to, raise funds for our facility. We are a nonprofit, but we still need funds to keep the greenhouse operating. So yeah, there's 2 plant sales actually. There's one that we do early before the last frost, so that's why we're doing like hardy greens like cabbage and kale and chard can stay outside and withstand like freezing temperatures. So those are the main ones we'll be selling, along with broccoli and things like that. And then in the second one, after spring has arrived, there'll be perennial flowers, more vegetables like tomatoes and peppers and eggplants, even some native flowers too. Those are my favorite because they've been so hard to grow, but now we have a handle on how to grow them. So I'm just proud that I could grow them. But yeah, so some days you just sit inside the greenhouse, play Animal Crossing music, and transplant, and it's great. It's great. So that's how my day went. Yeah. So here are the ones we did today. Give or take about 20. the table already had about 20 transplants on there. But for the most part, me and the class from this morning did all of these transplants, and they're gonna do great. And here I am just covering up the cover. This is like a little row cover sheet to keep out aphids. We don't want to like sell people vegetables with aphids on them, so we're just gonna cover them up for the time being. Yeah, I just tucked it under some pots at the edges of the table. Here's another table, and these are all collards, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure those are collards. Or are those more cabbages? I can't remember. I cannot remember. I just know that they're hardy green vegetables. I want to say they're cabbage. I think. I can't remember. We're growing so many. And then here are just some that we have to do. I think I was giving you guys a quick tour of the greenhouse. I don't know. I think that's what this footage is. You've already seen that top row, and back here is a table of basil, and there's some aloe, which is also for the plant cell. That table right there by the window had parsley on the bottom row, and at the top there was some cilantro just then. And then here are the tomatoes. Oh, I know what this was. This was my final walk through the greenhouse to make sure that things have enough water. And I walked through the tomatoes because you can tell by the way their leaves are. If their leaves are super droopy, you know that pot needs water. Here I was just showing you ripe tomatoes, but my purpose for that was to go through the greenhouse and make sure everything was watered correctly. Here I was just washing off some of the seedlings that we took out, and technically those baby seedlings are just microgreens, which is just, the first beginning stage of greens, and apparently at that stage they're like super healthy and super rich in like vitamins and nutrients, and microgreens are just really good for you. So instead of composting those, I just ate them. And then here's the final task that I do, which is soaking seedlings for the night. Thank you for watching, and tune in to the next video.